Hey everybody, Eric here from Around Tuit RC, and today I'll be reviewing another new radio for you. It comes from the Tactic line of radios, and it's the TTX850. It's an 8-channel radio. It's got a lot of new features in it, so let's go ahead and pull the camera in and check it out. The TTX850 is the latest radio in the Tactic line of radios. It's an 8-channel radio system, and let's take a quick look at the TTX650 versus the 850 side by side. You can see they're very similar in setup and design. All your menu buttons and your control switches are in the same places, but you have some new options with this radio that you didn't get with this one, and let's go over them. First, you can see that the 650 has a collapsible antenna. Well, they did away with that on the 850. The antenna now is internal. Now, I can't tell you if it's in the handle or in the main body or both. I couldn't find that in the manual or online, but nevertheless the antenna is now internal, and that's one less thing that you have to worry about. Is the antenna in the right position while you're flying, or am I going to damage that antenna while I'm transferring it from one place to another? I think that's a great new addition to the radio. Now, being that it is an 8-channel radio system, you get a couple of new switches that you didn't have with the 650. So you have a slider control on the right side and on the left side. And these would be useful, say, for maybe controlling a gimbal on a multi-rotor platform used for aerial photography, or for whatever that you'd like to use them for. It's totally up to you. Those are new switches to the radio. You didn't get those with the 650. Now, for the switches themselves, you have 6 switches that have 3 settings. Another new feature on the 850. And another feature of the Tactic radio, it's not new to this radio, it's been with the Tactic line of radios. Each of these switches are assignable. So what that means is you don't have to be locked into having your ailerons always here or elevators here. You can assign each switch to what you want it to be when you set the model up in the radio itself. That's a feature that I've always appreciated with the Tactic radios. Okay, now let's look at the displays. Now you can see that the display is bigger than the 650, so you get a crisper readout, and check this out, multi-rotor support now, which is another new feature. Alright, another feature you can see here, that you have more characters that you can assign for each model name, so you don't necessarily have to abbreviate as much anymore. You also have a battery voltage readout and 2 timers, another new feature of the radio. Now you can see you have your digital trim readouts that you did before, and the menu system is very similar to the TTX650. So if you have had a TTX650, you won't have a problem using this menu system. Now, even if this is your first radio, after reading the manual and programming in, say, a 4-channel radio or 4-channel airplane, you probably won't have to go back to the manual to do it again. Now, I've had friends that have bought the 650, programmed their airplanes in once using the manual, and haven't looked back since. So the menu system on the Tactic radio is very intuitive, it's straightforward, it's easy to follow. I'm sure you probably have to reference the manual a few times, but once you get the hang of it, it's not a problem. Okay, alright, so let's talk about some of the other great features of the radio system itself, such as the battery system. Let's open up the battery hatch. Now with this radio, you get a 4.8 volt 1000 milliamp hour nickel metal hydride battery that is rechargeable, and that's something new. You didn't get that with the 650. Now underneath the battery hatch here you have an accessory port. I'm not really sure what that's for. I have to research it and get back to you on it, but beside that you have your standard USB port that you can use to make future firmware upgrades to your radio. Now for charging the battery in the radio itself, you get a charging system right here. You simply plug it in the side right here to charge your battery. You don't have to take the battery out of the radio. And you can see it has the standard USA plug-in right here, but you also get the USA or the UK and the European plugs depending on what country you live in. Alright, you also get a manual with your radio and a Tactic neck strap. Now some of the other features of the radio we'll go over really quick. You have a 30 model memory system, and you can copy the models wired or wirelessly to another Tactic radio. Now you don't have an SD memory card slot on the radio. I'd like to see that in the future designs of this radio, but being that it has wired and wireless model copy, that's still a great feature with the radio that kind of makes it a plus for not having the SD memory card slot. Also, you have wired and wireless trainer functions like master and student, and I've always gone for the wireless ones myself, so I never really did care for having a wire connected from one radio to the other. That's not a new feature. You had that with the 650, but it's still a great feature having the wireless trainer function on the radio. Now for the airplane menu, you have 3 factory preset mixes, you have 8 wing and tail types, and air brake settings. You have a helicopter menu with 4 factory preset mixes, 3 swash plate types, and 12-point throttle and pitch curve settings. That's something new on the radio itself too. Also, another new setting, the multi-rotor support with factory preset mixes, swash plate types, and throttle and pitch curve settings. So all in all, this is a really neat radio, an 8-channel radio that you get right here. Feels really good in my hands. I think I'm going to enjoy using it. You can do this as a mode 1 or mode 2 setup. The information or instructions for changing it from mode 1 to mode 2 are back. You can find that online, and you can also adjust the ratchet settings on the throttle stick and the length of the sticks themselves. Now I prefer the default settings myself, but for those people out there that like to tweak the radio when they get them, you have that option also. Now this radio is going for $179 right now on the TowerHobbies website, and I'll be providing the links for that radio on their website in the video notes, so be sure to check that out. And that's pretty much it for the Tactic TTX850 radio. I hope you enjoyed the quick overview of it. Please remember to rate, comment, and subscribe to support my channel and see more great RC reviews here. As always, I'm glad you got to see the radio this time and not me. And we will see you later on the tube. And remember, keep on flying.